And we are live. Welcome back. Welcome back to part 3 of the Millionaire Next Door. Welcome back to the Book Club Bros podcast. I'm your host, Chase, with my co-hosts today, Landon and Miguel. Like always, guys, welcome in. And this was a short read. 30 pages.
Coming off a long read.
Yeah. Long read.
Coming off a long
Page
read.
141 to 174 is what we read, guys. And, overall thoughts. Miguel, you were kind of mentioning you just liking the book, liking it.
I love the structure. The comparisons is what I was talking about. It's good to see that they talk about one side and then they give you the other side to see how they're doing it exactly from both ends, so you really understand what's going on.
Yeah, the stories and stuff like that definitely help kind of put it in especially with them doing the research, like it puts it in light. Like this is how these people, not only what it looks like, but how they feel. Like it tells you their fears and stuff like that. And whenever you fill that out, like on a survey and stuff like that, to answer honestly and have that much money is like, it does kind of like make you kind of see it through a different lens, where it's just like, oh gosh,
all right,
not everything's what it's cracked to be.
Diving right in. I think, is this 1 or 2 chapters? I can't remember.
I think it was 2.
Is it 2 chapters or just?
I believe it was.
No,
it might be just 1.
Just
no,
35-page
one chapter.
Yeah, 1.
So the chapter starts off economic outpatient care. Their parents did not provide economic outpatient care. So I'm gonna start us off.
This was a big component to the book.
Yeah.
I realized.
So if you don't know what economic outpatient care is, economic outpatient care refers to the substantial economic gifts or acts of kindness some parents give their adult children and grandchildren. I'm going to jump over to 143, and it says EOC, economic outpatient care, is widespread in America. More than 46% of the affluent in America give at least $15,000 worth of EOC annually to their adult children and or grandchildren. So nearly half of the adult children of the affluent, or aka wealthy, who are under 35 years of age, receive annual cash gifts from their parents. Over half of them.
It's crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And I just heard a stat on the radio that about millennials are still receiving care from their parents. So this still aligns to this day, even though this book was written like over 20 years ago.
And it even talks about the various ways that you can get that, whether it be financial, whether it be allowing them to
pay for their school,
whether it be allowing them to. The one lady we'll talk about it who starts her business ends up just living with their parents until she's like 35, and then it just comes down to like how you slice it. But like there's so many different ways that you can see, like how they're brought up, more so like how they're brought up, and then how it's just, if you don't force them to grow, like you never grow out of it. Like it doesn't just naturally happen.
Yeah, which is so weird. Such a weird thought, because like we're at that stage where we're adults and we do have, family members still around. So it's just like, to me, after reading this chapter, it's like, they're like, oh, I want to help you out, I want to do this, and you're like,
you should hold off.
I want to, but should I?
Yeah.
Is this really what I want to do? And that's what Mary and Lamar are gonna have to kind of explain. Yeah, but honestly, I don't have anything till 154. So you guys dive right in if you have anything before. But yeah, we kind of get introduced to Mary and Lamar as the example of what not to do.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But their situation is just crazy on its own. Like Mary is trying to get her funds released from her parents, right? That's the situation.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And they weren't able to. So it's like they've been so accustomed to just living off their parents. And once the supply gets cut off, it's like, what do we do next?
Yeah.
Since it's a shorter chapter, I have a couple highlights in between there, just to kind of rattle through. On 144, kind of in the middle, it says, in addition, as our population ages, more and more affluent parents and grandparents are reaching the age of estate tax realization. Widows and widowers especially are becoming more aware of the government can take 55% or more of their estate via tax and via estate tax mandates. Thus, the affluent grow older, they will increase the size of incidence of their EOC in order to reduce their tax burden in estates. Basically, it's just saying, sometimes the EOC is almost just by default, where it's like you have all this money and you don't want to be taxed on like your money, so it's like I'm going to give it as a gift to my children and stuff like that. And then it talks a little bit more, like we're about to get into, how you can become, you can use that money and just save it or do whatever, or you can become dependent on it.
Yeah.
Like you factor it into your own income, even though it's like someone else's money that you're just, getting in. But like, it's not gonna, for some people they do it as like, the way I see it is, I'm giving money to my kids. I'm not having to get taxed on it. I'm giving, I think there's a story, $10,000 cash to my kids and stuff like that. That's just money. I know that they need it, they could help them, but you don't know what you don't know what it's doing to them.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what it could be doing to them, I guess.
Yeah, and it talks about it a little on 146 in the middle. It says, Mary is much like the daughter of the grandmother in our audience. Both have received economic outpatient care. The donors in both cases made the same assumptions. Economic outpatient care will get the youngsters going, and then they won't be needed anymore. Mary's mother was wrong. She has been providing her special blend of outpatient care for more than 25 years. Her daughter's family is economically dependent, which is just, bro, 25 years of your parents just giving you $15,000 a year. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
More than 6 figures.
Yeah, and it's like they don't. I mean, this is basically just saying like it's not a good idea, basically, because it won't get the youngsters going. It'll just make them dependent on the lifestyle that you've created, which is essentially a facade, because they talk about it later in the chapter. When you keep kids going at that rate without teaching them the proper things, then it's just not going to work out for them.
Yeah.
It even goes on to talk more about that on the top of 149. It says, we find that the giving of such gifts is the single most significant factor that explains lack of productivity among adult children of the affluent. All too often, such temporary gifts affect the recipient's psyche. Cash gifts earmarked for consumption dampen one's initiative and productivity. They become habit forming. These gifts must be extended throughout most of the recipient's life. Like we just said, like you become dependent on getting that gift. And then not only that, the parent almost probably becomes dependent on wanting to give that gift, because it's the whole, you read about it a little bit later, where it's like, instead I'm going to give this money to the church or something like that needs it, or they need this money at that time, but you looked at it as your money. Like, I thought I was going to get my 10,000 this year or whatever, but instead, hey, sorry. So I just found out that there's this super charitable cause that needs some money. That's my money that I was going to just give to you. I'm just going to give it to them. And all of a sudden it's like, I didn't bake in $10,000, like that's supposed to be going towards my car payment.
Yeah.
In your head, or I'm supposed to pay for my car payment so I can have $10,000 to spend in my head, and now it like is going to affect your relationship with whoever the person is that is just funneling money to you. Like that's so like, and now all of a sudden you have a bad relationship or negative
There's
feelings
like
towards
that
resentment, whatever it is.
Like why did mom donate that money to the church when she should have donated it to me?
And that statement on its head is just
wild
tough to listen to.
Wild.
Yeah.
But there is that, man. There's that thought. Or like, oh my gosh, like, my daughter's not going to be able to go to the school because mom didn't pay for it. Now she has to go to a public school. Like,
which is crazy.
Wild.
They talk about that situation too. They're saying even earlier, like Lamar was telling their new neighbors, like, oh, this public school system sucks. Like, you need to take your kids to the private school. It's only $9,000 a year, and he's saying only $9,000 because
he's not paying for it.
He doesn't pay a cent.
Yeah.
And then the people that he's telling, they were smart enough to do their own research. They looked it up. Public school's free, and the education was great, so they sent their kids to public school. Saved $9,000 a year. And if you can afford that, now you get $9,000 a year in the bank, put away in whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So.
Crazy.
When did you say your first highlight was?
Mine is on 154.
Okay, so final cut then, because this all these highlights that I had just kind of like run together. But this one says it's on the middle of 153. Gift receivers frequently are underachievers in generating income. All too often, the income of the gift receiver does not increase at the same rate of as his consumption. Remember, expensive homes are typically located in what we call high consumption neighborhoods. Living in such neighborhoods require more than just being able to pay for the mortgage. To fit in, one needs to look the part in terms of one's clothing, landscaping, home maintenance, automobiles, furnishings, and so on. And don't forget that to add the high property taxes to the other items as well. So it's just that this book really just constantly just beats over your head. Like, the more, if you really want to like live that type of lifestyle, I think all it's trying to tell you is they're doing just fine. They don't have as much money as you think they have. These people are doing just fine in a lot of ways. Nice car, nice house, nice all this stuff, nice membership, nice golf clubs. They're doing very fine compared to someone who is doing the same type of work and not being wealthy, right? Because I feel like you can do mundane work and never become wealthy, obviously, right? You can also do mundane work and become wealthy.
Yeah.
So it's like you can make all this money and you can become wealthy and have that exact same lifestyle and become wealthy. Or you can just be one of the people, like, not everyone that you think is doing all this, like, it's not an easy lifestyle to maintain. It's something that, like, you probably have to want to do, that you need to want to do. Otherwise, you're going to be one of those people always looking left and right for a little bit of help. Whenever you have that much stuff, like, I do feel like, not even pride in a sense, but like whatever it is, to where you have that much money, that many possessions, and you're asking for help. Like, if, like, to me, and obviously this is kind of looking up, it'd be like, you know, if I was struggling financially, like, the first thing I would do is like sell my car for like $50,000, and now I got $50,000, get a $3,000, but that's not their lifestyle.
Right.
So that's why it doesn't work that way. Like, if you're one of those people, it's like you're not looking to get rid of your stuff. You're always looking to get more money and get more stuff.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion, instead of like saving.
Yeah. And then they at the bottom of 153, they kind of go through like the Rolls Royce example again, but this form of the parents giving their daughter-in-law Helen a $9,000 rug, which then forced her to buy new light fixtures, walnut dining room furniture, crystal chandelier, solid silver service, expensive lamps, all because of that new $9,000 rug. And it just grows. Even as a gift, like the Rolls Royce, like, a lot of people don't realize, like, having such a outlier of a product raises the bar for everything. Mine at the very bottom of 154 was basically gift receivers, ... The adult children of the affluent feel their parents' wealth capital is their income to be spent. So not even income to be saved or utilized or any way. It's just free money. Kind of like, I guess, like, you know, what we kind of talked about. I don't know if it was last podcast or the podcast before, about the COVID checks. You know, they were supposed to go to dire need. You know, there's emergency funds, rent, food, money like that. And one of the top spendings was Foot Locker had the best quarter ever because people were buying Jordans like crazy.
Yeah.
And even to go along with that, I almost brought this up, but it's way back on 143. It says, from their country club affiliations to private schools they select for their children, they are living proof of one simple rule regarding EOC. It is much easier to spend other people's money than dollars that are self-generated.
Yep.
So it literally goes hand in hand with that, where it's like, if you get money from someone else, it's like, it's almost like in your brain, it's like you want the help from someone else, but you know you'll find a way to get it yourself anyways. So if someone helps you, okay, let me do some comfort spending. Like, okay, I was going to barely scrape by anyways. Let me continue to barely scrape by and get this TV and get this whatever.
My next thing was on 157.
Go ahead. I'm for it for that.
Now, on contrary, I thought this was very interesting about the gift receivers. So it says gift receivers are hyper consumers and credit prone. They live well above the norm for others with comparable incomes, but often people mistake the belief that gift receivers are concerned solely with their own desires, needs, and interests. This is not the case. On average, gift receivers donate significantly more to charity than others do in the same income categories. For example, gift receivers who have an annual household incomes of $100,000 or more category normally donate just under 6% of their annual incomes to charitable causes. The general population in this income category donates only about 3%. which is very interesting to see, like, kind of the positives of giving that money to someone that they'll actually donate it, which is very interesting because, like, the first portion of this chapter kind of puts gift receivers in a negative context.
I don't even. I feel like to me that makes so much sense. Like it's not even. It's like I wasn't even surprised by that because the people who are more affluent and the people who are really valuing their money know like I'm going to donate to these certain causes, but also understand like like I'm just see it like to me they don't. I mean you can view it that way. I feel like that's still negative. Like yeah, you're donating to charitable causes, but like you're just giving away more money that you got to make it tougher on your family or whatever. Because if you're needing those types of cash subsidizations and stuff like that to people to give you money, you should be trying to take that money, build a consistent lifestyle, and then donate from your own money. Not the money you're getting in, just giving away portions of it and portions of it to charity, which is obviously a nice thing to do. But I would almost even say, and this is just my vantage point, like almost wish casting. Like I'm going to give it to a charity and hopefully get blessed in return somehow. Like win the lottery.
True.
Or something like that.
Like they
just
do it as a front.
like
Yeah.
not even not, but like also just as like a
Like a
okay. I mean,
feel-good.
I got it. I mean, I got $100,000. Let me give $1,000 to this church because it's 100,000 compared to
Right.
okay, I made $100,000. I'm gonna give whatever my portion is to a charitable cause, which isn't gonna be $1,000. It'll be 200 or whatever they need at that point in time instead of just like I don't know. But that's kind of the way I viewed that. But that is still crazy
Yeah.
that they do more.
Yeah. So hopefully they're doing it for the right causes.
Right.
Yeah. They're not just doing it as like a social status, like, oh, you know,
Tax,
my
right.
family donates this much, or, you know, I feel good donating half of the money. You know, I can get 10,000 from my mom. I spend 5,000 and donate it all, and then 5,000 I buy, you know, some new stuff. It's like, no, you're just spending still.
Yeah.
And then let's see here.
I'm on 161.
You're on
I think we got the same.
161?
Yeah.
Just
That's-
a bold highlight.
Yeah. That bold highlight. Whatever your income, always live below your means.
Facts.
That's the law.
Yep.
That's the law of frugality.
Yes, it is.
Because then, I mean, it talks about like, because then if you do have to make changes, you won't feel threatened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it won't feel as threatening. You know, if it's like, okay, we're already doing this, then, you know, find a way to do slightly more or find a way to make slightly more. If you're already living below, that's the way you would hope it would be, anyways.
Yeah.
As long as it's nothing too serious.
Mine's on 165. My next highlight.
Go for it.
So then now, looks like we're about close to the end. This is where it goes, okay, this is where it kind of says how to teach your children to fish is basically what it's trying to get the message. And it says, what can you give your children to enhance the probability that they will become economically productive adults? In addition to an education, create an environment that honors independent thoughts and deeds, cherishes individual achievements, and rewards responsibility and leadership. Yes, the best things in life are often free. Teach your own to live on their own. It's much less costly financially, and in the long run, it is the best interest of both the children and their parents.
Yeah. Highlighted that too.
Yeah.
So good.
It's the whole give someone a fish they'll eat for a day, teach them to fish they'll eat for life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a hard thing because, like,
Especially if you have the money too.
right.
Like I mean.
Because even those feelings of like, I mean, but then I feel like that's almost something you got to choose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going to be your battle? We all got battles. Like, is it going to be the battle of, hey, you know I love you. I'm just not going to give you $10,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. You could afford it. You don't love me. Well, then I have not raised you right. If you think that is where, like,
Right.
that would be the only way I could kind of view it. Where it's
Mhm.
just like, are you gonna fight that battle? Or are you gonna fight the give them the money and hope that they don't misbehave with it, like we all probably would have.
Yeah, bro. It's a
Not
good
all
point
of us,
though.
but I mean, I know that. I mean, it's just tough. I mean,
And yeah, definitely something to just think about as, like, we kind of get to that age of, like, starting to raise a family. Like, all right, like, a lot of these things that, you know, the behaviors that you instill early they're going to carry on and they could financially corrupt you.
Yeah.
And like, that's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah.
But you don't even realize it, because then like, you almost feel obligated because you want to take care of them. But then at the same time, like, are you really taking care of them?
It's a battle.
Yeah, bro.
And
Can't.
that's really all I had. So does anyone have anything else to close it off?
I guess this idea, well, on 168 at the top is bold, nice and bold for everybody. The more dollars adult children receive, the fewer dollars they accumulate, while those who are given fewer dollars accumulate more. Just once again, just re-emphasizing the fact that you just have to teach your children the right way with money. I think it's just reading this just definitely opened my eyes because it helped a lot. Like my parents, I mean, my dad at one point was, helping my mom financially, just sending money per month. And eventually I started getting it myself. So like after I graduated high school, I was just getting the money directly. And I see why it's a bad thing because I would get the money and then in my head, I'm already calculating, okay, this month I have this much. And I'm adding that to my budget for the month. When
so
in
like you only
reality,
got to do this much. Like
yeah,
how
exactly.
much do I need to work this month
Right.
to
Yes.
be able to?
Yes.
And how much? Yeah.
Instead of just
Mhm.
being like, okay, this is extra income. Let me treat it as such and put it away, and like save the money. And bro, there's so many times I could have saved large amounts of money and I just didn't do it because I didn't understand money. I had a terrible relationship with money up until this point. It's like it was bad, bro. I was spending so much for no reason.
Yeah.
For no
It's easy
reason
to
at
do.
all.
It's easy to do. I don't think
Yeah, bro.
no one's anyone that tells you it's not. It's most likely lying.
Or hasn't made enough money too yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're making your weekly allowance, you haven't made, once you hit that first paycheck, when you get your first job, you're like, whoa,
Yeah, bro.
I worked this long and I got that much.
I think that's something where, like, kind of my last highlight that I'll hit on is on 172. I thought this is something that was, like, looking back on it, absolutely huge, and I totally get what they're saying. They say, middle of the page, parents often ask us how to instill courage in their children. We suggest children be exposed to the sales profession. And then it goes down and says, retail sales jobs provide another way for children to be evaluated by very objective third parties. That is, like, looking back on it, like, a lot of how I knew I was a better worker than other people is like working in some of those jobs and seeing them still not care and then knowing they would have evals coming up. It's like, whatever. But like if you work at a retail job, you get treated based off of how you work. Essentially, that's just how it is. If you're a good worker, it's this person doesn't do this, doesn't do that. If you are a good worker, it's hey, can I count on you to do this? Can you do this for me? Hey, we want you to be part of this. We want you to do this. And that's kind of like, no matter where I worked, it was always, hey, would you want to move into management? No, not at a grocery store at Hy-Vee. Hey, I'm working at Hibbett's. Hey, do you want to move into management? I don't know how long I'm going to be working at Hibbett's. Route 21. Do you want to, and I ended up becoming a manager there anyways. Hey, Route 21, do you want to move into management? Move into a small management role there. Like just at every single spot, you can just, if you're being evaluated against like a boss and someone that you don't have a relationship with, then like you can get a real like, even not only for yourself, but like just you can look around and see like, okay, this is like how some people do it. This is how you can do it. But like it leads to one way or the other. No one in the real world is a bad worker and gets treated super, super good. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You can only in families. How is this guy that position? He's the son of the boss.
Yeah.
Son of the boss. Everywhere else, this is our best worker. That's why we're moving them up or we're doing this with them. So I was just like, that is super valuable. Like, I mean, you'll never really, you can know. I mean, I'm not saying like everyone has to do that, but like if you really want to know what it's like to be evaluated by someone that, like, it was just, even to think back on it now, because now I work closely with people that I know. But before that, it would have just been like, what you don't really know until you're out there just like doing certain things and seeing how you stack up against other people.
And that was it. It's a quick read, and we finished that book in record time, 30 minutes.
With the podcast?
Yeah,
30
that portion.
pages. I mean,
30. That was a minute per
glad
page,
we didn't
basically.
lollygag.
But yeah, guys. And okay, so before we completely wrap up and we move into our short snippets,
Oh, he's been excited for whatever this is.
no, I'm gonna go
No.
last.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go last on
He's-
this one.
he's
But
gonna-
we're finishing the book, correct?
yes.
Oh, this isn't
Break down our
doesn't
read.
have to do with the book.
No.
What in the heck?
Yes.
I'm excited.
All right.
We're finishing the book. We're reading to
245.
245.
Read the acknowledgments.
175,
if you want.
245.
Doubling up the reading from this past.
There you
week.
go.
Get
Nice
ready.
little 70 pages.
Mm.
And then we will debut Landon's new book probably on Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Let's go.
So exciting. Exciting,
Let's
guys.
go.
So if you haven't bought this book and you want to tune in, you want to try to catch up and get us on the next one, definitely go check them out.
Book
Down
number
below.
what? 1,
Book
2, 3,
number-
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Book number 10 is almost under wraps.
Wow.
We're
Holy
2 away
cow,
from a
bro.
year.
Wow.
We're 2 away from a year.
No way.
We are.
Have
It
we
doesn't
been
even
doing
feel
this
like
for
that.
a year? There's no way.
It
There's
really
no
doesn't
way.
feel
2 away
like
from
it,
a
bro.
year.
Wow. All right. Well, hey, we're gonna be hitting that book number.
We'll
Who's
do
doing
a
it?
big search.
Am I doing
He'll be
12?
the last one. He's on 12. You go
Oh,
first.
Oh, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so we need to do we'll do like
I think I
a special podcast, and they can tell us what was the best book. I don't even know if anyone would vote on it, but we can try and be like, let's almost rank the books. I don't know if that.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
hurt
do a
feelings
little
or not,
ranking.
but-
We'll do the yearly ranking.
Yeah.
I like
All
that.
right, there you go. Millionaire Next Door, guys. Make sure to grab it, and we're gonna be finishing it up, and then
We got a love book
we'll
coming.
be on the next one. Oh yeah. 50
Mm-mm-mm.
Shades of
Colin.
Grey.
It's
Can
gonna be. Oh my.
you imagine?
Oh
Yeah, I
my
got this highlight of this bedroom scene. All right. So I told the guys I have a new segment. I want to go last. So who
All right.
wants to go first? Landon or Miguel?
We can start with a quote of the day.
Quote of the day.
Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not to stop questioning.
Mm.
That
Not to
was-
stop question.
Yeah, that was worded strange, but
That was-
don't stop questioning. Basically, shout out to Albert Einstein for that.
Hey,
one.
Albert Einstein.
Interesting wording, but it might have just been the times. Who knows?
It started off strong. The ending was interesting.
Yeah.
But it's Albert Einstein. Shout out to the legend. All right. So this question right here is gonna be. Finally, it's our second to last finance question. Who knows? Yeah. What kind of love question? Oh, either way. All right. So it's our second to last finance question. So what is something that you currently own right now that you wouldn't pay market value for, that you got that wasn't at market value, or that you just wouldn't want to pay market value for? I'll go first just as an example. Like, I have some off-white UNC Jordan 1s that I bought used because I would not pay the market value. And right now the market
Yeah.
value has gone up even higher.
Mm.
But like that is something I own right now, and especially like I've had a huge shift in like what I care about, especially like when it comes to shoes. I used to like literally, it's crazy to think about now because I still like shoes, but I used to love shoes, like be wanting to get everything. So like a lot of the shoes that I have right now, I would not pay the market value for.
Mm.
Feel that.
I would say mine would be an iPad. I bought my iPad like a couple years ago for my birthday and bought it brand new, and definitely like and then had a change of like I needed a new phone, and instead of buying like I think the new phone was like the iPhone 14 out. Instead of buying the new iPhone 14, I just bought the iPhone 12 used,
That's a good example.
and I'm still using it now to this day, and
Mhm.
I'm like so thankful because I already paid off this phone
Yeah.
and it works perfect. Camera's great. Running into some storage issues right now,
Such
but
a scam of just
but
getting the new phone. every
definitely
year.
the technology. Yeah, buying used, man. There's so many good deals on technology these days.
Yes.
There we go.
So that's mine.
I like that.
Definitely agree. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna run it back with like some clothing.
Ooh.
But
That's
I
good.
recently just got gifted some clothes, so it's like
Did you return it? Should have. You
Never.
should return it.
Don't
No,
want it.
it's
Ugly
Increasing the
clothes.
lifestyle. Hey, clothes,
Ugly
clothes, shoes. Next thing you know,
Add 'em
hat.
up.
so it was some Ed Hardy clothes. And Ed Hardy t-shirts back when they were like really booming. I think they were like $80 per t-shirt. But I got them for free, so it's like I don't know if I interpreted this question properly just now. Now
No,
I'm saying
that's
it, but
That's actually a really good one because that's something I even thought about too. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like folding laundry the other day and putting stuff up, and I like just finished reading the portion of the book,
Mhm.
and it just like dawned on me that like all these, like my Steph Curry shirt that I bought whenever he won a championship, and certain things like that. I was like, these cost me $25-$30. I couldn't get someone to pay $1 for this just because I've worn it 30 times. It's gonna look a little bit worn. So it's one of those things where like that like was so clear to me, where it's just like all these clothes I have, if I wanted to get rid of all of them, I probably paid a combined $5,000 for all these clothes. I'm talking like over the last years and years and years, but I couldn't get probably $50 for them.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't get $50 for them just because it's that used, that, and not even to say that like they're bad, but I mean they've been worn a bunch of times. Like how it's not that easy
Yeah.
to sell used-ish clothes. Like that's an item where it's like almost the second you buy it and take the tags off, you're at the.
Yep.
It better not look used at all if you're going to convince someone to buy it off eBay or off Mercari or off any of those sites like that. It just loses all of its value. So it made me think like, if I ever want to get clothes, make sure I'm getting something that A, isn't too expensive because I don't really necessarily need that, and B, like, I used to, for example, I used to want to get like, the cool new Nike shirts, like the Nike with the shoebox on it, or there's something like that, like Nike with some roses, or this new Adidas shirt, or this new Adidas shorts, or something like that. And then the more I realized, it's just like, I've been the same size for so long, like that's not really. Like you start to realize, okay, now I got down the line, you never love something as much after you've had it for a long period of time, for the most part.
Yeah.
If it's just basic,
What's the
like
newness?
if it has intrinsic value to you and stuff like that. Like I have shirts, now I realize I do wear like the same 20 shirts ish, 15 to 20 shirts, but I have like 80. But a lot of those shirts, it's just like, I mean, I don't want to wear that Puma shirt or that whatever that shirt is, but it's like, at a certain point in time, I was like, oh, give me that $30 shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, clothing can rack up money these days.
Clothing's a big one.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good. Shoes, electronics, and clothing. Those are like maybe the top 3 answers to that question. I'm impressed.
Pretty good. We're doing good, guys. It's those books that we're reading.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready?
Let's go. I'm excited, bro.
New segment. This one is kind of building off of Landon. The new segment is Are They Wrong? So I'm gonna read a scenario. That someone anonymously sent.
Yes, they are.
And you're gonna decide if they are wrong or not.
I like this.
Starting off, I didn't invite one of my best friends to my girlfriend's birthday, and he's upset. I'm 26. My girlfriend is 22, female, is turning 23 in March, and I am organizing a surprise birthday dinner for her at a large family restaurant with some of mine and her friends. We've been dating since December 2020, and we were 23 and 19, so we've come a long way, and I plan on proposing to her this year. She likes most of my friends except for one of them, one of my best friends, 26 male, who I've known since 2009 when we were 12 years old, despises him. She says he's so rude and insufferable to be around. Her friends also don't like him. I don't know why, but whenever we're all together, they just don't get along together. He is also more critical of her to me than any other of my friends. To be frank, he's like that towards everyone's girlfriend. He prides himself on being a quote-unquote shit talker, but the rest of us have learned to ignore him. It is to the point where my girl explicitly tells me she won't go out with my friends if he is there. I hate that I have to hate to use this office reference, but it's almost comparable to how much Pam and Ryan don't like each other in later seasons, except slightly worse. So of course I'd be stupid to invite him to her birthday party, right? I thought it was a pretty reasonable decision. I told her earlier this month I'd take her to a fancy, expensive Mediterranean restaurant she's always been wanting to go for her birthday as her date. And she doesn't know that I made the reservation for 22 people, 6 of my friends, who all she likes, 13 of hers, her sister, and of course the 2 of us. They all know we have this group chat and we're keeping a secret. Today at work, he messages me asking where his invite was. I'm not sure how he found out, but obviously one of my friends must have let it slip, which doesn't make sense since we've all agreed that he shouldn't be there. I explained to him that she really doesn't like him and inviting him to her birthday would be disrespectful, adding in that if it were mine, he would be the first one I'd invite. He tells me how he feels betrayed and he felt that I left him out on such a big occasion. After a few more blocks of text venting to me, never seen him that serious. He usually is a goofball in her text combos. I mean, I feel bad leaving him out. Why I would invite, but why would I invite someone my girlfriend actively dislikes to her birthday? Are they wrong?
No. After all that, I have to just say no, bro. Like,
No?
you're not wrong for that. Because if she's actively telling you, like, yeah, I don't like this dude, and he's always causing trouble, first off, you gotta talk to your boy. Like, bro, like, why are you doing all this? People don't enjoy that, and they're not enjoying you. So, first and foremost. But
Yeah, because I
yeah,
feel
no.
like you would almost have to know a little bit of the character of the guy. Because is he one of the? Because I mean, no one likes a super super rude person. If we're gonna joke around and make little funny little jabs occasionally, I can be all game for that. But no one just likes an inherently rude person. You're not marrying your best friend.
Ex-
Apparently, like I don't remember if you said something about proposing soon or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Exactly. So it's like, it's so obvious. If anything, it's like that's the best time to almost start to separate. Where it's just like, hey, look, I mean, how can everyone be there but you?
Right.
Like that's, I mean, it's pretty, to me, it's pretty clear. I mean, but it all, I mean, I get the whole, I don't even get it.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
It's a full
You just-
send.
yeah,
No,
bro.
he's not wrong.
Yeah, bro.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
The only way would be like, or do you have some type of work relationship with this friend or business relationship with this? Like that's
Mhm.
because since that's what we're in right now,
Mhm.
like that's the only vantage point where it becomes a little bit more, where
Mhm.
it's just like, okay, is this going to affect major things? Because I mean, bringing him is going to affect major things. If it not bringing him going to also affect major things, it'd have to be something pretty major, like
Yeah.
your literal boss that could just fire you, and somehow you're working for your best friend. Like
But
that's the only scenario I can think of.
I feel like even then though, like if the dude's good, be like, hey man, like no harm, no foul here. Like she doesn't want you there. Like you gotta respect her decision, and like don't bring this into that workplace when we're working together.
Yeah.
Like I
And I don't-
respect you. Like he said, like like if it was my birthday, you're
I don't
definitely
even like
invited.
that. I think that's such a cop out answer. Like
Really?
that is such a cop out answer to me. Yeah, because who's gonna be at his birthday party?
What do you mean?
Her.
Yeah, but it's
So
his
he's
birthday.
so for her birthday. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Selfish. One for the selfish crowd. That's so selfish.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's what I said. Cop out
Yeah,
answer.
yeah,
I don't like
yeah.
that either.
Oh,
Like that,
okay.
because that's
So you
it,
think
it
he
cuts
just
both ways. It
you-
cuts both ways without question.
so you think he's just saying that to make
Him feel better, but it's
Right.
probably
Oh,
more
yeah, for sure.
patronizing. It's definitely more patronizing to me. Like if I was that person, I mean, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes necessarily, but like that would sound way more patronizing. Where it's just like, because the same crowd is going to be at his birthday, right? Are they all best friends or not? Maybe not all of her friends,
right.
but the most important person of her friends, her,
Mm-hmm.
would be
Mm.
likely. So it's just one of those things where
That's a
just
good
make
point.
it easier on yourself.
Yeah.
Like just make it a little easier on yourself. He said childhood friend ish, right? Like
12
so
years
you
old?
get that, but like come on.
Yeah.
Like
No, man.
but it makes me wonder how this person is to be friends with, because I mean obviously some people end up having like goofball friends, but like I've never been able to maintain or call a best friend someone who's just antagonizing 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen scenarios of it where it's like someone who's a little bit more on the jabby end than just trying to keep the peace. But like if you really feel that way and you're really trying to grow and stuff like that, then it's just not sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't like that's the time where you just say, hey, like I don't know, it's crazy.
It's just different times,
Yeah.
bro. I mean,
We
that's
grew
just
up,
gotta
man.
change.
We grew up.
Exactly.
Now we don't make fun of everyone all the time.
Yeah.
Now we live life.
You gotta evolve.
There you go.
Yeah, well,
That was the first one. I think
I
it
like
went
that.
well. I
I
think
like
it
that
went
one.
well. I think you guys like that. Are
Yeah.
they wrong? Both answers.
dude,
both
he
no.
took us on
Yeah.
that was like 9 paragraphs. I was just
He was
like
not
listening to him. I
wrong.
was like, how? I was like, what?
Well, you gotta
Give
get the
me
context.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta get the context.
We got the context. That's
There
what I
you
was
go.
saying. I was like, what's the context going to be for this thing?
All right.
Boom, we got
Well,
it.
we got another one already loaded up, ready to go for next week.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, next Wednesday we'll be back with a new book to debut.
Yes.
New book. New, hopefully not new segment.
I'll get right on that.
And yeah, but definitely new book. Excited, guys. But thank you so much for those that were watching or listening or just tuning in and reading along with us. We appreciate you a lot. And we will see you next Wednesday. Take care. Peace.